Hello, hi, it's Henry the Computer Guy, and you're welcome to our lesson number 38. And in today's lesson, we are actually beginning our chapter 3, which is the ICT file and folder management. So, we are actually going to be looking at how we can manage our files and folders in this chapter. So, before we begin, let's first of all talk about the keywords we are going to be using or looking at in our chapter. For example, a file. A file is a collection of data or a named collection of data. We have a folder. A folder is a collection of files. For example, let's take it in this scenario. Let's say you're having a box and you're putting some items into that box. The items you're putting into that box are going to act as our files. Then the box itself is going to act as our folder. For example, you want to manage some items, put them, let's say, differently in different boxes. Those are going to be the different folders. Then the items you're putting into those boxes are the ones we are going to be calling our files. A file can be a document, it can be an image, it can be an audio, it can be a video. So it is specifically a collection of data. So they are giving us a diagram below here, and this is something or item up here we are having as a folder. Then the things they are supposed to be putting inside this box is the one we call, or are the ones we call the files. So that means that history and English are going to be saved in our folder called the school papers, or are saved into our school papers folder. Are we together? So let's look at the objectives. What do we need to know in this chapter? So they're telling us that by the end of this chapter, you should be able to use the different types of storage media to create, save, and transfer data. For example, you have a hard disk, you have a flash disk, you have a CD, DVD. So you must be able to use them to create some files, to save some files there, and use them to transfer files from one location to another or from one computer to another. Another one, we have to be able to convert data storage into various units. For example, if you're having KBs, you can transfer them or convert them to MBs. If you have GBs, you can transfer them or convert them to MBs and others, as we are going to be looking at them. We continue. And they're telling us that we have what we call the folder and file management. And they provided us with what we call an image here. It is having some folders. So the first one is actually the Directorate Project 2012. Under that one, they created Project A, Project B, Project C, Project K. Under Project A, they created others. So how did they come up with this? So we are going to look at how we can actually try and see how we do that one also. Let's try it aside here. Remember, the first folder they are giving us is the Directorate Project. So let's create a folder. But how do we create a folder? Look for any free space in the location where you are and right click. Then come to new. Then come to folder. You click on it. Then give it a name. So the first name we are having is the Directorate Project 2012. That is the one we actually have. Then these folders now, Project A up to K, are under this Directorate Project. That means that these are subfolders of the first folder that we have made. Let's open this one and create other folders as they did. Right click and open. Side, right click, then you do open your folder. Now we are inside our Directorate Project. So we want to create their other folders. So another shortcut actually of creating a folder, if you don't choose, let's say this one of creating, let's say new and come to folder. If you don't choose this one, you can as well use a shortcut which is up here of new folder. That means that we have 4 folders there. We can create this one, second, this one is the third, and this one is the fourth. Then we begin naming them accordingly. Let's wrap this. So the first one is Project A. Project A, then hyphen, opened on February 2012. That is the first folder we are having. So now what we are going to do, we are going to copy this one. Let's highlight it and right click, then we copy, such that we don't retype it whenever we need it. That means that we are going to be renaming all these files, all these folders. So what we do, we come to this one, right click and say rename. Then we paste what we have copied by using a shortcut Ctrl V. Then we wrap what we actually don't need. So now this is B. We make this one as project what? Project B. It is in capital letter. We make it capital. Then it was opened on March. That means that we need to put this one as March. I think that one is done. Then we come and also rename this one. Right click. Then you come to rename. Then we Ctrl V for pasting what we copied already. And this is going to be C. Then it was opened on December. We changed the February to December. Then the date is 2011. We remove the 2 and put 1. Then again, the last one is going to be rename it again. Right click and click on rename. Then we paste Ctrl V and we call this one, it is going to be K. Project K. But this one is closed, not opened. It was closed on March 2012. March 2012. So now, these are the folders that we have created under that. Remember, when we go back a little, we have the directorate project. Then inside the directorate project, we have created the 4 of them. Then under project A, opened on 2012, they added other 3. So we are going to come on project A. We again right click and open it. Then inside we put other 3. 1, 2, 3. Then we start renaming them. So the first one is project A communications. We paste what we copied already. This is A. Then we wrap this one that we don't want. This is going to be communications. Then we come to rename this one. Rename. And we paste what we already copied. Then we change. Project A. That is going to be the financials. Capital F. That is the financials. Then we come to the last one, that is going to be rename again. We Ctrl V to paste what we copied already. Then we wrap that other part. We call it planning. I think we are done with these 3. 1, 2, 3. Then under planning or project A planning, we put other 3. So we come to A planning. We again right click and open. We put other 3. 1, 2, 3. Then we come and rename. The first one is the logs. Then we rename the second. We put their project. It is project initiation. It is project initiation. Documentation. You see, they are just very easy. Then we also rename this one to work packages. That is it. I think we are now good to go. Then again, by the way, they also created another project A. There are 4 of them actually. So, okay, project A finance. You can go back a little. Remember, we didn't put this one project A task. So we can add another folder there. Put Ctrl V to make it project A. That one is the task. Tasks. And timelines. I think we are good to go. Those are the ones we have. We have project A planning, then under planning they put that. Then we also have this one. So that is actually what they did to come up with the directory that you're seeing here. Let's close it and we continue. So we have an introduction there, and they're telling us that hard disk drives have become very large in the recent years and are capable of holding millions of data created by computer applications installed on the computers. As a result, a method of organizing files is essential. Remember, in older days, they used to make storage devices of a lower or less storage capacity, but nowadays they are of a more storage capacity. That means that we have to be able to organize our information because they hold too much of the information. If it is not organized, then it will be a mess to us. So Windows uses folders to achieve this. That means that anything that you need to create or organize onto your computer, you can put it in a folder. So that takes us to what we call the file management. So file management is about arranging your work on a computer in a way that makes it easy to use and accessible. For example, you have folders. Let's say you have the work for Senior 1, Senior 2, Senior 3, Senior 4. You create different folders for Senior 1, Senior 2, Senior 3 respectively and put their respective work in those folders. So it becomes easier and organized to access. We continue. So let's look at some of the tasks that can be performed on a file. You can copy a file, you can open a file, you can close a file, you can edit the file, you can rename a file, though I didn't put it there, you can save a file, print it, delete it, or share it, or even move it from one location to another. Those are some of the tasks you can create on a file. We continue. And they're telling us that while working with your computer programs, you create and save files such as letters, drawings, or budgets in an organized way. You use folders to group related files as with paper folders in a file cabinet. For example, you're a shopkeeper. Let's say you don't have a computer. You keep your, let's say, files in a cabinet. You always organize them depending on what you actually want. For example, if these ones are profits, you make them or you keep them in one cabinet. Then if they are losses, let's say if they are expenses, such that whenever you're looking for them, it becomes easier for you. So even on a computer, we create folders for different tasks such that we can access it with ease. In this chapter, you will learn how to use different types of storage media to store information, following the structure of files, folders, and directories. So we shall learn how we can either store information on the different types of storage media. Let's say a CD, let's say a flash disk, let's say a memory card, and many others, as we shall be seeing. So let's look at some of the examples of file management programs or platforms. Remember, they can be either offline or online, whereby the offline can be used without internet and the online have to be used when you have internet on your computer. We have a table here that tries to tell us some of the items that we have, offline and online. So this side we have the offline and this side we have the online. Let's begin with the offline. We have the file explorer, we can have the total commander, we can have the directory opus, we can have the file commander and others. Then on the side of online, we can have the Dropbox, the Google Drive, the Microsoft OneDrive. So I want to pick one on each side and show you how it can actually help us to manage our files. For example, let me begin on the side of the offline. And remember, we have the file explorer. So, for example, if I click here down, remember we have down here what we call our taskbar. Onto our taskbar, we can have the start, we have other files, many of them here. Then we have what we call a file explorer. When I click on it, it can take me to where my files are, or where I can look for where my files are. For example, I can come to D and open it, then I can come and look for either the folder called Senior 1. Under Senior 1, I can add another folder For example, let's say we have math. Let's say we already have math. Let's say I have English. I can add another one. Let's say Luganda. I can, let's say, decide to remove some of them which are already there. Let's say I delete this one for math. I right click and say delete. It goes away. So it can help me to manage my files. I can even say I want to cut them and put them in another folder. That is actually how it works. So let's see on the side of the online. And then the side of online, I'm going to actually use only the Google Drive, I think, for that. Let's say for the study purpose audio, let me use only the Google Drive. Let's click on the link here and we see how we can use it. So it has to take us to where we can log into our let's say email. For example, I have my internet connected already. So you also have to be having your internet. You go to your email, we can sign in using any of the emails we have here. So let me sign in using the applink.com email. So when I click on it, they will ask me to put the password. So I'm going to enter my password. So when I click next, it has to log me into my email. And we see how we can use what we call the drive. For example, if I, let's say, come to what we call the Google Apps here, assuming that it has been, let's say, for the start, it has been less on the emails, where you always access your emails, but you want to keep some information there. Yeah, some internet connection is actually trying to prevent us from accessing it. Actually, we have accessed it. This is our inbox, and these are some of the emails we have. But what I want to talk about specifically is what we call the drive. It can help us to, let's say, save our information online. So let's come to what we call the Google Apps here. When you come to the Google Apps here, you look for what we call the drive. So give it time and it will load. So now at the moment our drive is empty, but we can add in information there. We manage it. For example, I can say, let me add some information here. I will click on this, let's say file upload. I'm going to upload any content. Let me say they are on my desktop. I'll go to my desktop. I look for any image. Let's say I have some images here. Let's say I have this. I can say open. It is uploading it down here. You see, it is uploading it. So it comes finally. Let me say if I need another one, I'll come and say upload. Then I'll look for it. Let's say I have this one. It is also uploading it. Yeah. As it is uploading it, you're seeing down here, it is actually uploading it. We can actually come and let's say look at this. We can manage this one. For example, we can get some of the options. For example, by right click on it, we can, let's say, decide to remove it again and we put another one. For example, if I'm tired of it, I can actually remove it. I can actually rename it. Let's say I call it Henry, the computer guy. Henry, the computer guy. So after that, I can say, okay, depending on the type of internet you're using or your internet data connection, it will actually be slower or it will actually be quicker. So now the name has been actually modified. So I've renamed this file. I can actually add another file. So as this one is still uploading, or it has refused to upload because of internet connection, let's leave it as that. So that's how we can actually use our Google Drive to manage some of the information we have. We also have the trash down here. So you can use it to do anything that you feel like. We go back. We close. So let's come back here. And actually, I think for these other three, you can try, let's say, trying them on your own and see how they actually work for you. So it's been Henry, the computer guy. Thank you for watching. And if you're new to my channel, I please beg you to subscribe. And if you need, or if you also have those people who need this content, you can actually help me and share the link to those people. Bye-bye. I sign out. Let me see you in the next video.